All right, good morning, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. Hi to those on the recording. As you guys know, we're here to talk about the Corporate Transparency Act, which has actually been around for several years, but you've only just heard of it because it's only just taken legal effect. They delayed the implementation of this for a while, so it's only just come into effect. We're going to talk about how you can comply with your reporting requirements quickly and easily and free and online, why this whole thing is not a big deal. So my standard disclaimer, as you guys all know, this is not legal advice. This does not substitute for consultation with an experienced accountant or attorney. The laws, of course, are complicated and fact specific. We're going to cover the basics of the Corporate Transparency Act, or the CTA as we call it.
Turn the TV on, I'll get
Remember
mad.
that your specific situation may or may not be covered by what we talk about. I'm going to go through the most common stuff that applies to most of us doing small businesses in the transformational industry. Also, this is a brand new law. So a lot of us are still figuring out. I'm still learning things about it. I've learned new things over the last few days about it. There's still pending bills in Congress about it. The Treasury Department is still working out some of the glitches in the implementation. It's brand new, right? So just remember that. We're all learning as we go here. So we're going to talk today about instruction on why the CTA exists. I think it's important to get into why it exists first, so we understand what it is we're doing, what the whole point is, how we can comply, and would it be helpful if we actually pull up the reporting form and go through it together? For those of you who have not done it yet, so you can see what it looks like, and I can help you avoid the common mistakes, so we will do that. For those who stay, we'll have an opportunity for some practical guidance on the other big filing requirement that's coming up for your tax returns. We're just going to talk a little bit about my upcoming tax filing workshop. And I always do plenty of Q&A time as well. So a lot of you know me. For those who are new, I'm Ian Foster. I got my law degree from UC Davis 25 years ago now. And I think a lot of us 25 years goes by fast. So I am still a licensed practicing attorney in California. I spent going on 2 decades in government service and government tax departments. So I did audit, investigate, prosecute business and tax issues, enforced filing requirements, a lot of that good stuff. And now I'm bringing that inside knowledge to all of you guys. So why does the CTA exist? And how are we going to comply with it? So here's a little bit of background on why it exists, because there's, people are talking about, hey, there's this new filing requirement, and you have to do it, and here's how you fill it out. Not a lot of people are talking about why it's there in the first place. So I'm curious, have you guys heard of the term tax havens before? Yeah. Drop in the chat, when you think of, if I say tax haven, what sort of country and places do you think of? Are there locations, countries, islands that you think of when I say tax havens? What comes to mind for you guys? Isle of Man, tropics, Switzerland, Caymans, Caribbeans, Switzerland. Yeah, right. That places. How many of you guys think of United States as a tax haven or a money laundering haven? Right? We are becoming one because our government has extremely outdated and outmoded tools for combating those sorts of things. So the United States is becoming a more popular place to hide money and launder money because our government doesn't have the tools to combat it that they have, in other Western developed countries. So this is changing beginning January 1st, a few weeks ago, with new tools to combat money laundering, tax evasion, other financial crimes in a much more efficient manner. And so what's the big deal? What do you guys think? I hear this sometimes. Isn't money laundering just a victimless crime where rich folks play game with their money? What do you guys think? Is money laundering a victimless crime?
No.
Yeah, not so much, huh? Yeah, definitely not a victimless crime. Money laundering hurts all of us. It enables fraud against innocent people. It steals tax money from hardworking citizens. Very importantly, money laundering allows violent criminal enterprises to keep going, right? They need money laundering to keep doing what they do, right? So the US is finally taking it seriously, and we're attacking the use of complicated entity arrangements and the use of so-called shell companies. We're finally getting to the root of this stuff. So Congress a few years back passed a law requiring the Treasury Department's Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, we call it FinCEN in the biz, to create a centralized database of business entity ownership to help them track this stuff down. This allows FinCEN to quickly and efficiently track flows of money when they believe there's serious criminal activity and financial crimes involved, typically serious money laundering, tax evasion, sometimes bank and wire fraud, stuff like that. So the basic notion here is that starting January 1, again, a few weeks ago, any reporting company has to file a disclosure reporting any beneficial owner. So those are your two key terms there, reporting company and beneficial owner. So of course, we're going to talk about those definitions. What's the definition of a reporting company and what's the definition of beneficial owner? Those are the two thresholds you need to keep in mind. So a reporting company includes any corporation, limited liability company, or other similar entity that is formed by filing a registration document and is created under the laws of a U.S. state or territory, or created under the laws of a recognized Indian tribe, or created under the laws of a foreign government and is registered to do business in the United States, right? So right there, pretty broad net, very broad definition of a reporting company. Corporations, LLCs, and other entities, which would include things like limited partnerships, LLPs, professional corporations, a bunch of other things, right? But the two big ones are corporations and LLCs. If you're created under the laws of a US state, a US territory, a US Indian tribe, or the laws of a foreign government, and you've registered to do business in the US, right? So that includes right there millions of companies right off the bat. Now, there are exceptions to the definition of reporting company, and there's a long list of exceptions. There's like 20 or 25 of them. I forget. Most of them do not apply to us. Most of them are things like banks. Banks are exempt. Insurance companies are exempt. Venture capital is exempt. Now, they're all exempt because they already report under different mechanisms, right? So they don't need to be reporting again. But there are a few common exemptions that might matter for our purposes today. So the most important one would be a tax exempt entity. So if you've got a tax exemption, if you're a 501c3, C4, something like that, you do not have to report. If the entity is inactive, it does not have to report. Meaning it literally just exists as a piece of paper and does absolutely nothing else. And a large operating company is exempt from reporting. Now, they define large operating company to mean more than 20 full-time employees, plus a physical office located in the United States, plus you filed a federal return for the previous year showing more than 5 million in gross income. Then you fit the definition of large operating company and you do not have to report. Now that gets to my, the objection I hear. Hey, that's not fair. How come those people don't have to report, right? Here's why. Because the ownership structure of those companies are almost never used for money laundering and financial crimes. People with lots of employees and physical offices all over don't generally do that sort of thing, at least not through the ownership structure. If they are engaged in money laundering, it's in their basement and all cash, right? Old school money laundering, when you would literally, they called it money laundering because they used to put the money in a washing machine. You put all these brand new bills in a washing machine with a bunch of dirt and rocks and they come out looking old and used, right? That's the kind of money laundering that might be going on in these companies, and understanding their ownership structure is not going to combat it. It's more about basically raiding them with guns to get at it. Right? So how come just little old me, it's just me and my friend, me and my partner, me and my spouse operating our small business, how come we have to disclose? Unfortunately, because companies like yours are exactly what the bad actors are using for money laundering all the time. That's why normal folks like us have to report, because the bad actors are using companies that look just like ours for their money laundering and tax evasion and financial crimes. That's why we are all caught up in the net. This is a classic case of the bad apple turning everything rotten. So do we have any questions about the definition of a reporting company? And I will say, for some of you, if you are a sole proprietor, a true sole proprietor, you do not have a business entity, you're done. You don't have to report. You can go enjoy the rest of your day. Right? So sole proprietors, it does not apply. You're good. You're free to stay if you want to learn, but you're also free to, go eat breakfast or walk the dog or whatever you want to do. So, Larissa, yes.
I'm Canadian. Does this apply to Canadians or just US citizens?
It's more about whether your business is registered in the US. So do you have a business entity that's registered in a US state?
No, it's registered in Canada.
Right, but it's not also registered in a US state.
No.
No, yep, then you don't have to report.
Okay.
So you're good. You can walk the dog or, whatever sounds good, or you're free to stick around out of interest if you want, but you're good too. Yeah. Oh, see there, Brian. I was hoping Brian would be on. Brian says Canada is going to create a similar set of rules. Brian is our Canadian expert on this type of stuff. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it. Susan, yeah.
I'm a sole proprietor, but I'm like on my tax returns, I'm a DBA. And when I lived in Ohio, I actually was formally registered, but I fairly recently moved to Tennessee and I did not register here in Tennessee because I'm gasping toward retirement. But I still put DBA on my tax forms.
Mhm.
What am I?
You're just you. So you're not an LLC that's treated as a sole proprietor, right? You are just a
Correct.
true sole proprietor.
Correct.
Then I don't think you have to report. Registering for a DBA is not really the same as creating an entity. It's just reserving the name for your use.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think you're good.
Okay. Fabulous.
Yep.
Except I am going to be running one of these retreats like you talked about in your last couple of workshops. Does that have any implication for it? I'm going to be doing that.
If you form an entity, you will
No.
have to file.
Okay. Not
Yeah.
planning on it. Not doing any co-creation, just owning it.
Yeah.
In
Yeah.
my own.
Yeah, as long as you don't form an entity, you're good. So yeah, again, you're welcome to stay just on information in case you do end up needing it.
Yes. Thank you.
But otherwise, you're good. Cami.
Thank you.
Hey, sorry there. I
Yeah.
had to unmute. So I have a partnership. Does it apply to partnerships?
Is it a limited partnership or a general partnership?
I think it's a general partnership.
If you, so, and it's okay if you don't know the answer to this. Was it created by operation of law, or did you create it by filing a registration document with a state?
I believe we filed a registration document.
Then you should probably go ahead and report. Just to
Okay,
be safe.
thank you.
Yeah. So if you have a true general partnership, not a limited partnership, if you have a true general partnership, which means everyone is jointly and severally liable for everything that happens. And if you created it by filing a document with the state, then you should report. If it was created by operation of law, or what we sometimes call the accidental partnership, which is people just get together and do something and it just happens, then you probably don't have to. But yeah, if you filed with the state, I would go ahead and report, because my understanding is they will be matching records against state filings to start at some point over the next couple of years to weed out who reported and who didn't.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And as you'll see, the report it's non-intrusive and simple anyway. So it's really not a big deal. Given how easy the report is, my default right now is to just say report if you're not sure. Because again, it's not a big deal. So All right, very good. Any other questions on the definition of reporting company?
I just had a
Amy?
question.
Yeah.
So it sounds like, because I'm wondering if the two LLCs I have are be under inactive, and it sounds like it's better to just report and over report rather than under report, and then you're good either way.
Yeah, if you're not sure whether they would classify as inactive, and we'll go to the FinCEN website later, and there's also, they have a downloadable guide that goes into more detail. But if you're not sure, I would report because it's free, fast, and easy,
Okay, thank you.
and it's not worth a $10,000 fine. In my view, I do get pushback from people who are like, screw it, I'll risk the $10,000 fine. And I'm like, well, okay, you know, it's your money. So I don't know about you, but I don't have an extra 10 grand lying around that I just want to give to the Treasury Department when I could have done the report in 15 minutes, right? So if you do have extra money you'd rather just throw at the Treasury Department for no reason, then you're doing great, right? You got plenty, then awesome, life is good. All right. All right, so let's assume now, if you're staying on listening, either you have a reporting company now or you think you might in the future. Then you have to file a form that discloses your beneficial owners. So a beneficial owner is every individual who directly or indirectly exercises substantial control over the company, or directly or indirectly owns at least 25% of it. Now, if it's just you as the sole owner, then that's just you, right? But it could be you and a business partner, you and a spouse, you and an investor. Right? And note it said direct or indirect, meaning like it doesn't have to be an immediate owner. So if somebody owns another company which owns 25% of your company, that would be indirect, so it would still count. Charmaine, yeah. So, well, the reporting company is any company that has to report, right? So if you own a company that fits the definition of a reporting company, then yeah, you have to file.
Okay, thank you, Erin.
Yeah. So there are some individuals who are excluded from disclosure as beneficial owners. The first is minor children. Do not have to disclose the names of minor children, but you do have to disclose their parents, right? Because occasionally parents will use their kids' names for financial crimes, believe it or not. I guess they can win mom and dad of the year when they do that. You do not have to disclose someone merely acting as an agent of another. Typically, that means a trustee of some sort. Or a conservator, maybe. You do not disclose someone whose interest is only through a right of inheritance, right? So let's say my buddy Joe is set to inherit 25% of a business. He does not yet own the 25%. He just has an inheritance right. He does not have to be disclosed. Now, when the other person dies and he gets it, then he'll have to be disclosed. You do not disclose someone whose right of control is only due to their employment status, unless they're a high-level officer, like a C-suite type of officer usually. Right, so maybe you hired someone, you have an employee, or I would say in even some cases a contractor who does exercise a lot of control over the day-to-day operations of your business, but it's only because you're paying them to do that, right? Then unless they're also an officer, you do not disclose that. So, any questions about who is a beneficial owner? It's anyone who indirectly or directly or indirectly exercises substantial control or directly or indirectly owns at least 25%. Mary, yeah.
Could you go over that last bullet again? I think I wasn't quite clear on the meaning of that one.
Oh, the employment?
Yes.
Yeah, so, because the test is not just ownership, it's ownership or substantial control. Right? Now, you may have an employee who exercises substantial control over your business because that's literally their job, is to run the day-to-day operations of the business. So they are exercising substantial control, but it's only because they're employed to do that. So you do not have to report them unless they're also an officer of the business, like a CEO, CFO, in which case then you do have to report them. Does that help?
Yes, thank you.
You bet. Okay. All right, so let's talk about the disclosure form and what you're going to need. So the disclosure form, and we're actually going to, in a few minutes, we're going to look at this together, right? But it's at fincen.gov.boi. Write it down. In fact, pull it up in your browser right now. fincen.gov.boi, sorry, not dot. So fincen.gov/boi. Go ahead and pull it up. Make sure you have it up. Because my recommendation, typically, if you haven't yet filed, just do it as soon as possible. There's no point in waiting. You gain nothing by waiting to file here. The form is free. It's online. Should take no more than 15 minutes once you have all the information in front of you. In fact, that I've done a number of filings now. The first time I did it, it took me 15 minutes. And honestly, it only took that long because I was being extra careful to read everything. By my third or fourth filing, it took like 3 or 4 minutes. I mean, it's really that fast, especially once you know what the form looks like. You're going to need the name and identifying number of the reporting entity. The identifying number is usually going to be the EIN. If it doesn't have an EIN and it's solely owned, it might be your social. I always recommend getting an EIN. If you got an entity, get an EIN. Again, getting an EIN. Speaking of fast and free and online, you can get your EIN in 5 minutes online. Boom, you're done. You can go there right now and get it. You could have your EIN in your hand before we finish this webinar if you don't have one already. Oh, Stasha, there you go. Hot tip. Check out the chats for hot tip. You'll need the name and identifying information for the reporting person, whoever's filling it out, or they call it the applicant, right? It's going to be you. And for each owner, you're going to need their name, date of birth, and residential address. You're going to need the identifying number from a list of acceptable documents. That's the most common. Typically it's going to be a driver's license or a passport. And I recommend a PDF of the identifying document. You have to upload a picture of the document. Some folks have had luck using JPEGs and other pictures. Myself and a couple other folks, I've had better luck uploading PDFs. Right. So when I did this for my companies, I did, my wife and I, we did our passports. Why did I do passport instead of driver's license? Because I already had clean PDFs of the passport saved on my computer. That's the only reason I did that, right? Doesn't matter. If you already have a PDF of your driver's license, use that. But whichever one's quicker and easier. For me, the passports were, I had it right there handy. As far as when to file, if your entity already exists prior to this year, then you have until January 1st, 2025 to file. Now, are you guys going to wait until December 31st to file? Are you going to wait until November 15th to file? Are you going to wait until May to file? When are you guys going to file? Hopefully the answer is like today or tomorrow, right? Don't wait. This is the sort of thing you think, oh, I have till January. I'll set an alarm in my calendar on December 15th. And that alarm goes off and you're like, oh, what is that? I don't remember. And then an hour later, you've forgotten. And before you know it, you're being hit with a fine, right? If the entity is created on or after January 1 this year, then you have 90 days to file the first report. Again, I wouldn't wait 90 days. If you create an entity today, I would file the report tomorrow. Or as soon as you get the EIN, as soon as you get confirmation that everything's done. If the entity is created next year or later, then you have 30 days to file the first report, right? So they're sort of phasing in these deadlines. They are phasing these in because normally 30 days is a pretty reasonable deadline for this. This is such a simple report, but they're giving existing entities longer to file because there are some people with more complex structures and it may take them a while to gather the information necessary. Right? There are some real estate investments and other things out there that have complex, deep, multi-layered entity structures. And the people that run them, it might take them a few months to contact everyone and get all the information. That's why they're giving people more time to file to start off. And then thereafter, you have to update when necessary if things change, new entity, ownership changes, stuff like that. All right, so can we, oops, my thing came up backwards. So again, it's fincen.gov/BOI. All right, so let's go through it together. Is that okay? Do you guys want to see it? See what the form looks like. So I found that going through it tends to help. Is it showing up? I'm not sure if it's sharing. Any thumbs up out there? It is sharing. We're good. Okay. Thank you. So over here on the left, you'll see a button for small business resources. That's where it has like the pamphlets you can download that has flowcharts and explanations and goes into more detail in case you want more detail or you're not sure. And then over on the right where it says file, this is what we want. File a report using the BOI e-filing system. Now, you could create this ID optionally. I'm going to show you why you don't need to do that up front, okay? So we're going to go to file a report using the e-filing system. And then over here, beneficial ownership information, again on the right. We're going to click Get Started. Now they have two ways to do it. You can download a PDF, fill it out, and upload the PDF, or you can just do it online. Just do it online. I don't know why you would download the PDF, fill it out, and re-upload it when you can just enter it all online and just skip the extra steps, right? They give that option. I don't know why. So I'm going to do the file online BOI report. So prepare and submit. I agree. So you see a bunch of tabs here. We're going to go through the filing information, the reporting company. That's the the company, the applicant. That's whoever's filling this out, which I'm assuming is you, the owners, and then the submission tab. So type of filing. You're going to type initial report, assuming this is the first time you file. So you'll click initial report. You go to next. Now we're on the reporting company tab. So this box 3, request to receive FinCEN ID, check that. Check that box. And then at the end, when you submit, it's going to give you a transcript so that you have proof of your submission in case anybody ever says, hey, did you file? You have proof of your submission. And your transcript will have your FinCEN ID on it. They will assign it to you immediately. And that ID will make any future filings much easier. In the future, you just get to fill in that ID and it will autofill the rest for you, right? So check that box to get your FinCEN ID. So the name of the company, right? So those of you who have been to some of my workshops, you know my favorite hypothetical company, Bunny Smith Consulting LLC, right? Or if it's incorporated, it might say Inc. Right? So the legal name of your company. If the company has a DBA, you would enter it here. You can add multiple DBAs if you need to. Dr. Wendy, yes, you will get a FinCEN ID for each one. So for each company, you're going to do a separate application, right? So if you have 2 LLCs, you do this whole thing for the first LLC, then you get out and you come back in and start over for the second LLC. Does that make sense? Yeah. My wife and I had 3 companies. So the first time I did this, I did 3 in a row. But again, all 3, the first time going through, I was done in half an hour. And then the tax identification for the company, right? So usually that's going to be your EIN. Hopefully you have one. You enter your EIN here. If you are, say, an LLC that is disregarded for tax purposes, meaning you have an LLC, but you file a Schedule C tax return, then it might be under your social if you don't have the EIN, right? So if it does not use the EIN for tax filings, it would be the social and you would use your social. Or ITIN. I don't know if we have any resident aliens here. Actually, last night we had a couple resident aliens who have ITIN, so you would use your ITIN. Stasha, do we include the dash in the EIN? I think so, but I don't remember, and I don't know that it matters because the EINs are all the same amount of digits and they're unique anyway. So I don't remember if I put the dash in or not, or Robin says no dashes. Yeah, there you go. Here, we can try it. What if I type 82-11111? Yeah, so it doesn't want the dash. So there you go. Yeah, so no dashes.
And if we're,
Sorry, go ahead. Who's that?
excuse me, sorry, it's Charmaine.
Oh, hey,
Um,
Charmaine.
If we, okay, we know like how we file, but we don't know if it's disregarded entity and that. Do we need to check with our CPA or how? do we
You
figure that
could
out?
if you want. I mean, so Charmaine, because you have an LLC, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I do, but I am taxed as an S corp, and I don't remember.
Okay, yeah, if you're taxed at an S corp, it is not a disregarded entity.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so it would file an S corp return. A disregarded entity would file a Schedule C as though it were a sole proprietor.
But that's how, okay, I need to talk to my accountant, I think. Okay,
Yeah, if you're taxed as an S corp, it's not disregarded. So
okay.
you-
Because
you
it
probably
files
had to
through
be-
my personal taxes and I use the Schedule C. I don't know. Okay, I'll talk to them.
We can-
Thank you.
Yeah, we can talk about that. And Charmaine, I don't know if you'll be at the tax filing workshop, Charmaine, but we can talk about that there too.
Okay,
So
okay.
we can, that's definitely the sort of thing we'll dig into in 2 Saturdays from now.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah.
right. Thank you.
The jurisdiction of formation, right? So if you're in the US, it's US. I know we have some Canadians on here, it might be Canada. Domestic, meaning US, your state, right? So like all of my companies are formed in California. Or tribal jurisdiction. I don't know. I haven't had anyone yet with a tribal entity, but they do exist. And then the address, right? So it needs a physical address for the entity. The date you first formed, I'm not sure, does it ask for the date? Oh, Stasha, is your question in terms of like, is it a California or a New Mexico entity?
Yeah, sorry, I wrote date instead of state, but yeah,
Oh, gotcha.
I'm involved in Cali, but
Is it still active in Cali or did you transfer it to New Mexico?
I transferred it to Florida when I went to
okay.
parents during COVID times, and then I dissolved Florida and reestablished in New Mexico when I moved here.
Okay, then it would be a New Mexico entity. Yeah, good question. All right, so does that tab kind of make sense?
Yeah, and for the address, are we supposed to raise our hands? Sorry.
Just shout it out, Charmaine.
Okay.
Charmaine, you've been around with me long enough. You can just shout it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So this address, because I know you said the the officer one, you need your home, like your residential address. But
Mhm.
for this address, this is supposed to be like the address you used when you formed your company?
Well, really just a physical address attributable to the company,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So it may be wherever the company operates out of now, which might be your home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is some question that I'm not sure what the answer is yet. I'm still trying to figure out on if you have a registered agent, if you could use their address because they give you a physical address.
Yeah.
Now, the reality is your home address is going in this application no matter what anyway.
Anyways, right.
So you're not hiding anything because
No.
somebody on the other webinar the other day was like, well, I really don't want to put my residential address on this part. I'm like, you're going to put it on the next tab anyway.
Right.
So, there's no secrets here.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Then you'll hit next. All right. So here, I want you guys to pay attention. So we're on this middle tab, couplet applicant, right? The applicant is you, if it's whoever's filling this out. So that's you. Okay. This existing reporting company, leave that unchecked. Leave 16 unchecked. Do not check 16. If you check 16, it disables all the fields, right? So you don't want that. Now it's confusing the way they phrased it because it makes it seem like, does my company already exist? And you're like, well, it did already exist, so I should check it. No, don't check it. If you check it, you will not be able to complete the application. So leave 16 unchecked, right? Now, company applicant, if you already have that FinSen ID, you don't, but once you do, you can enter it here and it will autofill, right? So leave it blank because you don't have it. So you're the applicant, so you need your last name, your first name, your date of birth, right? Needs all those. And then for you, you can use either a business or a residential. Look, a lot of us do home-based businesses. It's the same thing. Not everyone like me is old school and still has physical offices around the state of California where we still see clients in person. And people still pay us. Do you guys remember those little rectangular pieces of paper where you would write amounts of money on it and then you would go put it in the bank? We still have clients that pay us with that. So the address, and then the identification for you as the applicant, right? So the document type, driver's license, tribal ID, passport, foreign passport, the number from your document, right? So your driver's license number, your passport number, the jurisdiction, right? For most of it, it's going to be United States. For some of you on here, it's going to be Canada, state, or the tribe. And then here you upload it. You can do the choose from folder. I've been dragging it. The drag and drop works just fine. This is where you upload the image. Drag your PDF on there. Again, some people have used JPEGs and found they work fine. Personally, I've had better luck with PDFs that have a real clean image on them uploading. So whatever you have, you drag it on there. Does that make sense? So then you're going to go next to the beneficial owners, right? So this is everyone who, again, exercises substantial control or owns at least 25%. You're probably not an exempt entity. Oh, Julian, good question. Front and back. They are not clear. So I went ahead, like on my passport, I actually did my passport card and I did the front and back. So I would do the front and back just in case, because what you don't want is for this to be rejected because you forgot to include the back, right? Might as well include front and back just to be safe. So for the owner, it's very similar to the previous page. For, last name, first name, date of birth, residential address for the owner. And then same thing, what identifying document are we using, the number from the document, the jurisdiction, and upload the image. Now, if you are the applicant and the owner, you're basically, this is all the same as the previous tab, you're just doing it again. If there's more than one owner, you get to the top up here and you see the button for add beneficial owner. You can add a second one, a third one, however many you need. Right? That all make sense? Then when you end up on the submit button, when it's all done, you need your emails. And if you try to submit and forgot something, like it will tell you what you forgot. Do the I agree. Oh, it wouldn't let me click I agree because I haven't filled anything out. See, it's telling me I'm missing all the fields. Right. So you're gonna hit I agree. And it's after you do it, you have to do this CAPTCHA thing to verify that you're not an AI. This CAPTCHA thing is especially annoying, just so you know. Sometimes it takes me a few tries to get through it. It is not one of those squiggly letters things or pictures of a stoplight things. It's going to be something like identify the black bear instead of the polar bears, or you know, the penguin instead of the parrot, or click on the most frustrating one I saw the other day was click on the koala's head. And it actually had several pictures of a koala's head, but it wanted you to click on the one that was placed on the right spot on the koala, which we figured out after a couple tries. So just so you know, this is an especially frustrating one. It may take you a couple tries to get through.
I have a question. I tried
Yeah.
to do this form 6 times and I kept getting the thing saying that I had, you know, I had different, what do you call the symbols that shouldn't be in there. So I went back and changed, you know, the title of my driver's license and took the space out, took the apostrophe out from the S and did it again, but it wouldn't take it. I must have tried it like 5 times and I went back and tried to look at, you know, what it was that they were talking about. Then I went and filled out one and saved it, you know, printed the form out, filled it out, saved it, tried to upload that, and it still got the same thing. So what do you suggest I do? Do you think I should just upload my driver's license or drag and drop them without, and I think I used a JPEG. So you think I should just use the
Try a
PDF for
PDF.
that?
Try converting it
Okay.
to a PDF. Again, some people have uploaded JPEGs with no problem.
Mhm.
I have found a PDF works better. But so
Okay.
I think some of this is, again, this is a brand new online system that may just have glitches that they are still figuring out.
Mhm.
So try uploading a PDF instead, see if that works better. And then there somewhere on here, I don't know where it is, but there is a tech support link.
Okay.
So you might try their tech support people. This is also why they're giving us a year to do this for the first time, because, you know, 90% of people I'm finding are having no problem at all. And then 10% are like you're like, as far as I can tell, I'm doing it all right. And it's just not taking,
Mhm.
right? And so I think they are still working out some of the technical glitches too.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you could try waiting a few weeks and coming back to see if it's fixed. You could try PDF, you could try the tech support, but that's part of why they have this extended deadline, is because they assume there are going to be these kind of problems.
Yeah, because I was frustrated. I mean, I thought I was going to zip in, zip out because I got 4 companies. Say, okay, let me get this out the way. And I kept getting that
Right.
same, you know, message. It's like, what the heck? I know what I'm talking about here, but it was
Yeah.
something with the attachment that had some kind of figure. But I'm going to go back and upload my license without just changing the name of the file and see, you know, maybe drag and drop and do it as
Oh,
a
yeah.
PDF, you know,
Yeah, or the
versus,
file. Yeah, maybe it's something in the file name. Like my
yeah.
file name was very simple. It was like Ian Foster passport.pdf,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yes.
the PDF had a very clean, crisp image on it. And it took that.
Yeah, and
You
my
know,
image is
so,
fine, but I think
yeah.
it was just maybe because I changed the name, it took the
Happy
apostrophe
February.
out and all that, and I probably should have just redid it and named it without the apostrophe to start with, but I'll work it out. But I just
Okay, yeah, try renaming the file something simple, even no, because I think it was no spaces even in my file name, just like Ian
yeah,
Foster.
no, I took the spaces out because I did
Yeah,
read that, but I want to go back and try it again and with a clean ID without
yeah,
and do it as a PDF versus a JPEG and see if that makes a difference.
yeah, see if that makes a difference. A PDF with a clean file name,
Okay, well,
and if
thank
not,
you.
try their tech people. Like I said, they are still working out some of their glitches too. So
Okay, all
they
right.
were, I know they were in a rush the last couple months to try and get this whole system up and running. So,
Okay, well, thank you. I appreciate it.
so yeah, that's how you submit it. So that all kind of makes sense. Again, except for like some of the technical glitches that unfortunately, Wendy, I'm sorry, you're part of the 10% that's having the issue. um, but otherwise it's pretty simple, pretty simple stuff. All right, so some of the FAQs. Will the database be public? There it is. It will not be public. It is kept confidential. It's only reserved for law enforcement performing financial crimes investigations, and typically fairly serious financial crime stuff, right? So it's like your local cops aren't accessing this. The IRS is not accessing this. The IRS has this information anyway, honestly, so. Will filing the report put me on the radar? No, it will not, because their expectation is that if you're required to file, you're going to file, right? Filing a report is just fulfilling a legal obligation. Not filing ultimately will put you on the radar. My understanding is that over the next few years, they will start, doing information exchanges with states in order to sort of match these two databases of filed entities. And they'll be able to quickly match and see which entities have not filed. And they'll start to wonder, this quick, simple form, why didn't you file it out? What are you hiding? Is this unconstitutional? No, this is well within federal authority. This is basic constitutional law stuff. It's within the federal government's authority. There is a pending case challenging the constitutionality of this reporting system. That case has been pending for 18 months and gone nowhere. And when I read the briefs, in my view, the arguments were basically frivolous. So it's gonna stand up. Will the CTA be repealed? It's certainly possible, but it's very unlikely. This was actually passed with overwhelming bipartisan support and then survived a presidential veto, was overridden. That's how popular this was in Congress, that they overrode a presidential veto to keep this in place. So it's highly unlikely. There are a couple pieces of legislation that have been introduced to repeal it. That legislation has gone nowhere, hasn't even gotten a hearing. I was hearing people say yesterday, so just yesterday, the House of Representatives passed a large tax bill that made changes to tax credits and some other things. A lot of people were saying there was a provision in that tax bill that repeals the CPA, that is the CTA. That is not true. There's nothing in there that repeals it. I pulled it up last night. I read the text of the bill for myself. It does not repeal the CTA, so it's here to stay. Will the filing deadlines be extended? Possibly they will. Actually, there is some legislation that has passed the House that would extend the filing deadlines further. It has not gotten a hearing yet in the Senate. There is some support, so they may or may not extend the filing deadlines, but I would not count on filing deadline extensions to save you. Look, even under the current law, you have a year to get this done, right? So I would not wait the entire year hoping it will be extended another year beyond that. Just do it. Just get it done, right? And look, my position, those of you that know me, your business thrives more if you follow the rules and you're in alignment with the law. The rules are actually designed to help small businesses thrive, believe it or not. Our economy runs better. Our government makes more money. Everybody does better in the way our economy is set up when small businesses thrive. So the rules are set up for that. And as you've seen with the CTA, the reporting form is online, fast, simple, and free. We're just helping the government consolidate information in a way that combats some very serious crimes that's become a big problem and causing a lot of problems. The price for failing to report is very heavy. It's $500 per day if you're late, maximum $10,000 per violation, which means if you're even 3 weeks late, you're already at the $10,000, right? So again, no point sitting around waiting for that. It's not the only thing we're filing, right? Tax filing season is already underway for a lot of us. Some of us already, usually first week of February is when I start to fill out my returns. If you have business tax returns, March 15th is the deadline for a lot of your business tax returns for a lot of us, right? So it's here, it's coming. And we need to understand how the tax forms work. Even if we have CPAs and everything, you need to understand how they work. A good CPA will tell you that you make a better client for them and you make their life easier if you understand how taxes work and how the forms work, right? Because your CPA can only do so much with the information you give them. That knowledge is power. Look, our system is set up to favor small businesses. Learn how we can deduct legally and take advantage of that system. Learn what income we have to report to stay compliant. And let's go over that anxiety. So getting over that anxiety and learning this stuff is why I run the annual tax filing workshop. So it's that time of year, it's coming up. This is part of my second Saturday workshop series. So it'll be February 10th, second Saturday of February. This is when we do this every year. It's our one-day hands-on experience to learn how to file our business taxes properly. Learn how to keep planning for the rest of this year so that we're filing next year's taxes even better. We do a lot of practical guidance with examples and spreadsheet templates you can use right away. We start with learning what income to report so that we have a strong foundation that reduces our risks so we're not getting in trouble for failing to report income. We're avoiding the common income reporting mistakes. And then how do we save money? Okay, we're reporting income. How do we start reducing that with our deductions? And as business owners, we get a lot of deductions, right? There's a lot of benefits as business owners. So let's take advantage of these opportunities and we'll have everybody come forward with their own examples. So you're going to get real life examples from your community of peers to see how this works for different folks. A lot of practical training in how to categorize your income and expenses for tax purposes. I give you my own spreadsheets that I use in all of my businesses. I'm a former government tax attorney, and so I designed my own spreadsheets based on all those years in ways that categorize your income and expenses so that they translate immediately and easily onto your tax forms. And if you keep up with these spreadsheets all year, your taxes become simple. I will have 3 business taxes to file. There's 3 businesses to file for taxes this year. I'll have it done in maybe 4 hours, all 3 businesses. Why? Because I have these templates and I keep up on them all year. And it's already set up to translate onto my tax forms quickly. We're going to go through line by line, just like we did today. So today we pulled up the beneficial ownership report and went through it so you guys could see it. We're going to pull up the common tax forms for small businesses and go through those line by line. So you understand the logic of how the forms work. You understand what they look like. You'll know how to read and understand them, which you need even if you're having an accountant do them, even if you're having tax prep software, you are still responsible. You're still the one who signs the return. You still have to understand how to read the returns, right? Lots of love seat time for individual coaching, realistic examples, including from a lot of your peers, because everybody gets to ask questions about their own situation, and plenty of Q&A time. So when you enroll, you get instant access to the templates and the tax forms we'll be going over. You're going to get ongoing access to the recordings of the workshop itself, so you can refer back to it, or in case you can't make all of it. You get the schedule and links, the email reminders, and the links to join live on February 10th on Zoom. And you get to join a trusted community. I work hard to build a community of awesome people. A lot of you have been around, been part of the community before, and seen that, you know, it's nice to do this with people that really care about each other. It makes a big difference, right? So you can join today for as little as $197 plus 2 more payments of $197 if you want to do the payment plan, or the most cost effective for a lot of folks is the full pay at $547. You can check it out at taxfilingworkshop.com, taxfilingworkshop.com if you're interested. All right, so how are we doing? Do we have any residual questions on anything, on the workshop, on the CTA filing? Faith, yeah.
Ian. I've been trying to gather information for a while, so I'm kind of like lost in the sauce a little bit. But
Yeah.
one of my more direct questions is, I started collecting a death benefit of my husband's last year, his Social Security, and I've been trying to find out information on that. I'm also looking for a new accountant. I've had her for eons. And I also, speaking with Vicki Simmons, who is how I got your information. She's used you, and she's been trying to guide me towards finding somebody new and speaking with somebody, because I was looking to get a consultation with you, but I didn't hear back from you. I sent you from my personal email. So I really don't know what the next step is. This class you're having is like, I'm all in. I guess going forward, I'm looking for an accountant that knows, okay, what do I keep my LLC? Am I an S Corp? Can I still make, I was told an S Corp, yes, you can file the money that you're making, which my business, this business is fairly new. I don't know. I'm really confused right now. I probably sound it too, because I don't know. I just want to do what is legally. I think I have not been taking advantage, or she hasn't been taking advantage of what I legally can get or file or claim or anything like that. So I don't know if it would be worth it to sit down with you even for a little bit. I just don't know, Ian. Hopefully that kind of makes
That's
sense.
okay. Hey, I appreciate when you say you don't know, and it's good to say I don't know. It's good to say I don't know, but I don't know. There can actually be a lot of power in saying I don't know, because it means you're open and you're ready to move forward and learn, right? I always tell people, be careful about saying I know. Anytime you say the words I know, you're locking yourself in, right? So only say the words I know when you were really sure, right? So saying I don't know is awesome. It's a good, empowering place to be if you look at it from a good perspective. This is where to come with these questions. Sitting down one-on-one might not be cost effective. My one-on-one rates are really steep at this point, I will admit. But I do have other options. These monthly workshops on the second Saturday are where you get to show up in community and ask those questions and learn those things piece by piece. So the tax filing workshop might be a great start for you. The business entities workshop I do every December. So the next one's not till December, but there might be a way to get you, a way to get you some access to the recordings of the prior one. A lot of people do my 12-month package for the workshops because we do this piece by piece. You see Billy, he's an excited member of the 12-month community there, where we learn a little bit extra, another piece as we go along, because you get access to all of them, and it's like getting half of them for free, basically. But if you want to come to the tax filing workshop, we will be talking more about some of the additional options to move forward and work together too. I can search for your email. It might have gone to my spam. I apologize. I don't recall seeing it, but I can do a search for it.
That's
Yeah.
okay. I can send you from my business, because my business is actually my name,
Okay.
email, but I'm just copying down something else that somebody just put here. Thank you, Charmaine, for that information. Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm going to sign up for your tax class in 2 Saturdays and do that. And hopefully I'll keep the same accountant this year. Obviously, she's looking to make an appointment. So, but you're also going to show the forms of keeping like your expenditures and how to do that as well. Is that you're going to do that as also?
Yeah,
Is
I will
anybody
show you
help with
the
that?
profit and loss statements that I use in my business.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I have those, like I said, I created those myself in a way that made sense to me as a government tax attorney that translate quickly and easily onto tax returns. And you don't have to use my forms. You might use Quicken or QuickBooks, or there's other systems but my forms will still be a good guide for how you want to categorize things in a way that works come tax time every year. And you get to keep those forms. So, mhm.
Okay, and then knowing what you can take and what you can't take, that this will all help that, right?
Yeah, exactly. We go through it together. We talk about what do you need to claim as income? What are you allowed to deduct? You know, we even talk, how far can you push it? Right? And still be ethical and
Exactly. Because
legal.
I've even asked her at one point, because I'm really practically not making anything. And then, and I've said to her, does it help for me to say I made X amount of dollars? Is that going to help? And she just, I don't know, she kind of short circuits. So I'm like, I need somebody who's actually going to tell me, all right, this is what you can do within the guidelines that is
Yeah.
legally whatever, because I don't know. And I know I'm being hurt by it because I know it's not being fully taken advantage of. And I'm usually one that sits in the corner, does everything by the book,
Mhm.
pays for whatever I have to pay for. And you know what? I don't want to work the system, but I want to use the system to my advantage, how it's legally designed to do. That's all
Yeah,
I'm looking for.
exactly. And look, I'm not going to teach you guys how to cheat. I used to
I know.
prosecute tax cheats. I put tax cheats in jail for a living. So I'm not going to, I could teach you how to cheat really well, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm going to teach you how to do it legally and even talk about, the places where it comes down to what is your risk situation? Can you make a good argument, right? But the point is the system really is set up for small business owners. It's small business owners are given massive advantages in our tax system, and we need to start using those advantages. Look, it's there for us to use. It's totally legal. Congress put these advantages in place because they want small business owners growing and making money. So let's use that to our advantage, and let's not be afraid of it, and let's be visible. And I've seen people, they get so scared of the tax system that they turn down income because they don't want to pay taxes on it. Right? I saw someone turn down a $500,000 contract because they didn't want to pay 8% of it and file it in the state of California. I'm like, wait, hold, okay. Well, I guess that's up to you, buddy. But that's,
All right.
yeah. So this,
And
and
I
it
can also
again,
bring the Social Security question as well. Like, what can you earn? How can you navigate that and still collect the Social Security that you're getting and still have a business? Because it's actually stopping me from
mhm.
actually just allowing like the energy to go out, so to speak, and start advertising and having clients. Because I'm kind of like, I don't know if I should, can I? I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm also not going to sit here and only be able to get this much a month and sit here do nothing for the rest of my life. So there's got
Oh
to be a
yeah.
way.
So I will say, like, I am not an expert on the ins and outs of the Social Security part of it, right? That's kind of a whole subspecialty and detail. Like there are attorneys who that's all they do. So I don't know all the rules on what you can earn with the Social Security. Honestly, I would go on the Social Security website and search that. But my advice generally is along with what you're thinking, which is don't let that stop you. You have ways you can help the world, and you have people who need your help, and you want to be part of the good work we're doing in the world, then go out and do that work and make money. And if it means you get less Social Security, well, so what?
Right.
I mean, so
Yeah,
what?
that's okay. I'm fine with that. I just
Yeah.
don't want the government come knocking on my door with the shackles and say, "You good person," because they just seem to, come after some people that you wonder why they're coming after. But anyway, I've
Yeah.
got nothing to hide, so I just want to do what I want, what I'm here
Yeah.
to do.
Get out there, make good money, do good work, help people, and then, whatever happens, happens, man. I mean,
Yep. Thank you, Ian.
yeah, you bet.
I'll see you in
Randy.
the workop.
All right. Very good. Thanks, Faith.
Yeah,
Randy, what can I do
just
for you?
a quick question, going back to the reporting
Yeah.
company. Because I'm considering establishing a company offshore that would not be doing business with anybody in the United States. I don't need to file, do I?
If it's truly not doing business in the United States, if it's not registered to do business in the United States, if it's not, so it will have owners in the United States,
Just me.
and you're going to be the one running the operations of the company.
Yes,
And what state do you live in?
North Carolina.
yeah, then that business, even if you form it offshore, it almost certainly will have to be registered to do business in North Carolina anyway. So,
But if we're not doing business with anybody in North Carolina, it's all the business is being done offshore.
but you are doing it and you're physically located in North Carolina.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Yeah, so you're still gonna have to register it as a foreign company doing business in North Carolina. And then it will be a reporting company.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Any other questions?
Hi, Ian. I just have one other question. First of all, I just appreciate this workshop. It's been really helpful.
Mhm.
But my question is, the only reason I found out about the reporting requirements is because I was in that Facebook group, even though I have an LLC.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's anything that I need to do to contact the IRS to make sure that they're sending me correspondence that I need to know about, or
You wouldn't be, the IRS is not in charge of this. This is a totally
Sure.
different part of the, not totally, they're both under the Treasury Department, but they're different parts of the Treasury Department. So this is not an IRS thing. It's the Financial Crimes Network, which is a different section in the Treasury Department. The Financial Crimes Network is supposed to be, supposedly they have an advertising budget to promote this. I don't think they're doing a great job, because if not for folks like me, would you guys have even heard of this? Right?
Yeah.
So it's the promotion is not being done very good. This is the sort of thing that back in the day before, when we used to have quality, I don't know, I think we're all of a certain age in here, I can safely say. I think we grew up in a time when we had quality local news, when you had good local news people who reported on real things of interest, and not just, decapitated people and puppy pictures and, but we had good quality local news back in the day. This is the sort of thing that would have been on your 5 o'clock local news in the evening, right? They used to have here's the updates that you guys need to know as business owners in Houston, Texas, or wherever, So there's not a lot of advertising about this. It's been word of mouth. If you're in the legal profession like I am, you're aware of it because it's part of all the journals and newsletters, right? But this is why I'm doing this webinar. It's why I added more times for next week, because there was such a high demand for it to help people figure this stuff out. So I wouldn't worry about whether you're getting correspondence properly from the IRS, because you wouldn't have gotten anything from them on this anyway. So
Okay. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you clarifying that.
yeah. Joy.
When I was setting up my bank account for my new business, I tried to put my kids as beneficiaries to that, and I was told that because I'm in Washington State, I was told that I couldn't do that, and I okay, that's all I could do is accept it. I don't know why that's true. So I'm assuming that I have two LLCs. I'm assuming that I don't have them listed as beneficiaries because I'm not able to, but I kind of don't remember. Can you tell me anything about that?
Yeah, so when the words like beneficiary and beneficial have different legal meanings in different legal contexts.
Okay.
So when it comes to this CTA reporting, a beneficial owner is only someone who exercises substantial control or owns at least 25%.
Okay, thank you.
So that's it. So if your kids don't own any portion of the business, then they would not be included. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Billy. So yeah, Billy, your CPA's been sending out. That's good. Yeah, I think more of them are doing it. So I have seen there are some trade organizations sending out emails to their members informing of this and then saying don't comply with it because it's unconstitutional or it's invasive or it's going to get overturned or it's going to get repealed, which is not helpful. Because like I said, it's not unconstitutional. They may extend the deadlines, but don't count on that. And it's not impossible that it will get repealed by legislation, but it just seems extremely unlikely. Like I said, this was an extremely popular bipartisan legislation And the proposals to repeal it have gone nowhere. So I would assume this is here to stay, and I would comply with it anyway. So, yep. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Love all you guys. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.